What is up, everybody? We're doing a really cool tour today for everybody that is like, Jared, you don't tour like any DIYers. You don't tour like, you only tour those really expensive vans. Well, guess what? Today, I've got Katerina, and she has a, I think it's a 79? Yep. 79 Ford that she's been living out of and still is going to be living out of. And she's going to give us all this cool stories, information, etc. How she built it, why she built it, like traveling abroad. What else? You got a lot going on.
Riding across Canada. Well.
Riding across Canada. Wait until you hear that story because it's literally riding across Canada on another animal, right?
Yep, on a horse.
Stay tuned for all this. Yes! Katerina, everybody. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. People might be like, what is that noise? Your heater is running right now.
Should I turn it off?
No, keep it on. It's all like
it's cold outside. So.
Well, I was going to say it's a beautiful fall Pacific Northwest day. So thank you for doing this.
Surprisingly not raining.
Surprisingly not raining. I love this weather. I'm a sweater weather. I know you are.
I hate this. I'm like, bring me the sun. But
yeah. Well, actually, that brings me up to a good point. Where are you from?
So,
because you're not from a sunny space.
I am from, okay, let's say Niagara Falls area, Canada, in between Niagara Falls and Toronto. Most recently, I was living in BC, and now I've been just traveling for the past...
So you're Canadian?
I'm Canadian. Try to stay in the U.S. as much as possible, Mexico, yeah.
You traveled all over in this van, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so I bought my van in Penticton in British Columbia. I flew to go get the van, drove back, and then I decided to build it in the forest in Bend. So I built it on public land in Bend. And then from Bend, traveled down through Arizona, was in Arizona, down all the way to the tip of Baja, Mexico. And then I drove all the way back through the US to the Canadian Rockies, spent the summer there, and then have since come back down, and now I'm here in Portland.
So you're a skier and you surf as well?
I surf, I skateboard.
And you horseback ride?
And I horseback ride.
All right, before we get into the van, can you please tell us a little bit about that? Because we said that in the intro.
Yeah.
You did what?
So me and my sister horseback rode across Canada. So we went from the Atlantic Ocean in Nova Scotia, Nova Scotia, Canada, all the way to the Pacific Ocean in British Columbia.
How the heck did you do that?
It took 2 summers, 9 months of riding, and the first half we did it. So the first half we were sleeping in tents, we were tying the horses between trees, we were like really cowboy camping, and we had my brother on a bicycle. He filmed the whole thing, he was kind of our support. And then the second half, my sister bought her Sprinter van, so my brother drove the van, we were on the horses, and we did Western Canada. And
so it was you, your sister, and your brother?
And my brother, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You just mentioned you did footage of it.
Yeah, so we have like 500 hours of footage.
And you have plans, hopefully, to make some sort of documentary or something from it.
We're making a doc from it.
Okay,
yeah,
so
stay tuned.
Okay, this is the part where I'm going to throw out your Instagram. You have an Instagram.
Yes.
And if people want to maybe help you with this doc, because you and I have been talking a lot about this, because you and I have the same creative visionary. Can we message you into your Instagram wherever I put it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
So what is your Instagram so you can say it out loud?
So it's Katerina Ketcha.
Ketcha?
Ketcha is how you pronounce it.
Okay.
But it's spelled K-E-C-A.
Very awesome. I want to see that documentary.
Yes.
I think a lot of people want to see that documentary. What do we? Does that say chateau?
Yeah, it's French.
I know what it is. What do we got here? I said earlier that it was a 1979.
So it's a 1979 Ford Econoline. I looked like every single day for 3 months straight, and I knew I wanted an older van. And when I saw this van, I was like, this is me in van form, and I just knew. I was like, I have to get this van.
So why did you end up going with something like this over maybe something newer? And like, because this is older than not just me, but me and you.
Yes.
You're younger than me, but me.
Yeah. So I So as I mentioned, my sister had a van. So I lived in her van for 5 months.
What did she have?
She had a 2011 Mercedes Sprinter.
Okay.
And so it was me, her, a dog. My brother would sleep under the bed, and then we had the horses outside in one Sprinter van. Yeah, we were literally like vanning with horses, which was really fun. So that was my intro to van life. And then again, I did a road trip with her in her Sprinter through the US in 2022, and her Sprinter broke down all the time. And she had wanted to get a retro van, and my dad talked her out of it, like, no, they're so unreliable, blah, blah, blah. And I'm in her Sprinter, and I'm like, this thing's breaking down all the time. Like, if it's gonna break down, it might as well look cool.
It does. It looks so cool. I mean, you didn't do any of the stripes. Like, this is how it came?
This is original.
Oh, my goodness.
And then another reason I wanted an older vehicle, I do just feel like it has so much more character and personality, like, just built in. It's also, like, I don't know, it, like, represents a different era, a different time, a different feeling. And what I was looking for in van life, I feel like this style of van, the build, the make, like, everything's simple. There's nothing electronic in it. There's no computer. So, like, I figured out, like, I've done a lot of fixes in it. I've, like, done all my own brakes. It's accessible enough for me to work on. Parts are cheap, parts are affordable. Like,
has anyone ever told you that, like, you were born in a wrong era?
Yes,
okay.
Definitely. And I resonate with, like, I feel like with the 70s, or just like when you think of van life, like what it comes from, you think of like hippies in a van, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, like, van life has evolved, and we can have these like beautiful fancy houses with like everything we could possibly want. But this is kind of like tapping into a different time where, like, it's a little bit less, it's simple, but it's still like you're still creating those moments and having that adventure.
Don't normally ask. I do normally ask, but it's usually up to the person. If you want to share any pricing that you had or done, like what you got the van for, and then maybe what we can talk about when the build, how much it all costs when you get to it.
Yeah.
But what did the van cost?
So the van was listed at 11,000 Canadian, and I got it for 8,500 Canadian. Honestly, probably about like 6,000 US. Actually, so it came fully built out with the original build that like Vanguard put into it, and I was gonna live in the original build.
Vanguard.
I was like, perfect, yeah. It's ready to go.
Yeah.
And then I got in there, I slept like 3 nights in it, and I just felt so sick, and I was like, I think there's mold, and I ripped it out, and there was mold. I had to gut it right away.
All right, so everything on the exterior is pretty much the same, with the exception of the solar panel?
Yeah, and the roof, and the, what's it called, the surfboard.
You have a surfboard. I didn't even notice your surfboard until just now.
That's my little crappy foam board from Mexico. She has her like rough edges. I need to like rebutyl this.
Oh,
I
you're
had like
fine.
a leak, and
you have a heater that works.
I have a heater. My dog drove my van off the road and ripped this off.
Now, you don't have your dog inside.
No, she's not inside.
But what is your, want to throw up an image of your pup and who she is?
Manuka. So I actually rescued Manuka in the same forest I was building my van. That's a crazy story, but basically these 2 people were naked in the woods fighting. We had to call the cops, and they both went to prison, and I got Manuka.
So you didn't like rescue from a shelter. You
no,
literally
I literally rescued her in the forest from these 2 people going to jail.
No, that's a rescue story, everybody. That is like, all right, so let's step on in if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, it is nice and toasty in here. Oh my goodness.
Watch your
I'm gonna
head.
actually, that's fine. Holy crap, it's like really toasty in here. I love it. This gives me so many like feels.
I'm gonna take my shoes off.
I'm sorry, I probably should have
No,
done
you
the
can
same.
keep your shoes on, that's so fine.
This is beautifully built. It's
Thanks.
so, it's not that it, like, I wasn't like expecting any less. I'm just like, wow.
Thanks. This is my first time building something.
Well, you did a fantastic job.
I did not do it alone. I did have help.
Oh, you did have help. Okay, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah, so I wanted to build my van out by myself, but having like 0 building experience, it was a bit overwhelming.
Sure.
And when I decided to live in a van, I met my ex-partner at the time, and he was living in his van, and he had all the tools and skills and knowledge. And so we were like, okay, let's build it out together. And I was planning to build it out in Vancouver, in BC, in the driveway of the house we were living in. But I was really anxious to get out of the city. I'm like no longer a city person. He's like, we can build it out in the forest. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy. I don't think we can do that. But he really did give me the confidence to be like, no, we can literally build it out anywhere. Like, he's fully mobile in his van, has everything. I'm like, all right, let's build it out in the forest. So it essentially, like, the first couple months, we were moving around a lot, and that was awful. I would not recommend it because I had like, it was gutted. I had all my belongings in here and all my building materials. So anytime we needed to build, it was like take everything out, set up, build, and then put everything back in. And then it wasn't until we got to Bend where I was like grinding every day. And then the process more like he helped with a lot of the like the electrical, the plumbing, a lot of the structure stuff. But basically like all of the woodwork was entirely me, and I really like spearheaded the project. But having his support and his knowledge while doing it was very helpful. But yeah.
This is amazing. But I'm in the front area. I'm leaning on your passenger seat. Does this swivel?
No, I gotta swivel it.
Oh my! Like I saw your face just melt. You're like, no.
It's because I wanted to put a swivel in. Yeah.
Well, I had a Ford Econoline myself, and I
Okay.
put a swivel in my passenger seat. So maybe I'll have to get you hooked up with one.
I would love a swivel.
Maybe.
You know, I actually had one, and
Okay.
I was carrying it around, and then I just never got it.
You never? Where'd it go?
It's in Arizona somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. Disposed of properly. I think it just like ended up in the dumpster or something.
Oh no!
Yeah. It was an old rusty one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it just looked like.
Well, let's get you a
penny.
nice new one. Although
be
you have
awesome.
plenty of seating area,
Yeah.
so I'm assuming you're sitting on your couch and your bed.
Exactly. So actually, I wanted to keep a lot of original things. So this is the original layout when I bought the van. So this is the original pull-out bed. I actually just reupholstered it like a month ago because I slept on this and it was horrible. Like. For a year and a half. Like there was lumps, you could feel the metal, and I was just so overwhelmed by the idea.
Well, it was like a 40-some-odd-year-old.
It was a 45-year-old couch,
Yeah.
pull-out couch.
What are you gonna do?
And it was awful. So I just reupholstered this, and then I just built this kind of little DIY. I just installed a diesel heater after a year of no heater, and then I have some extra seating here. And this pulls out really easy. It just plops down.
Oh, okay. Well, am I out of the way?
Yeah, I can pull it out.
Can you pull it out?
Yeah. It just goes like this.
Oh, a little like futon style.
Yeah, and then you can like, I love these windows because I don't see these in any other van. They like go so low,
Yeah,
and
they're
you
pretty
just
cool.
get I call them my spaceship windows, and so it's nice when you're laying in the forest
Do
and
you
you're
journal?
like, oh, of course I journal.
I was like, is that your journal spot?
Yes, this is. Well, I have my little reading light over here in this nook too. Yeah, this is
You
my.
go, of course I journal. Like
Look at my van.
Yeah.
Look at all my journals.
You read and journal.
And then look, you don't even have to get out of bed. I can just make
You don't
my
even have to get out of bed.
coffee.
Now, are you a tea person or a coffee person?
I'm both.
Okay.
I've transitioned to tea for anxiety reasons.
Okay.
And that's that.
So when you gutted everything, did you go down to the studs?
Yes.
Did
We
you-
actually lifted the roof. We
Oh.
had to like completely take out like 100 screws, take all the screws out, lift the roof. There was so much rust, so we grinded it all down, painted it, sealed it, put the roof back on.
Wow, that's a lot of
It
work.
was a lot of work.
Was it worth it though?
Yeah, of course it's worth it.
Well, so you prevented were there leaks before?
There wasn't, not that I knew of because
Right.
it was summer at the time, but actually there was still a leak after that I resealed this summer. I had to like go over it again. So I didn't think anything had been leaking.
Oh.
And then I went into the woods this past weekend, and it's actually just my door seal. So it's more about like the bot. It's not my job. It's just like the old.
Oh, that's
I just
easy.
need to redo the door seal.
Yeah, that's so easy.
But it is
Cool.
leaking right where I keep my battery. So that's like really exciting.
Okay, so maybe we do fix that
Maybe
sooner than
fix
later.
that. Yeah.
So maybe do that before the swivel.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
How tall are you?
I'm
If you don't-
5'4".
You're 5'4".
You can
Okay.
stand up.
Can I stand?
Yes.
I'm gonna turn the camera around.
People are always shocked that you can stand in here. I'm like, no, you can fully stand.
I have plenty of room,
Yeah.
and I am 5. We'll say 8. What are you? 5'6"?
5'4.5".
5'4.5". I think
I
a
can even
6-footer
stand
can stand in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you could stand at this part, but
Because you have a little drop right
Yeah.
here. That's cool. Yeah. So this is your bed. You have your kitchenette or whatever.
yep.
And then talk to me about these different woods. You went with a really interesting feel in here.
So I did not draw a single plan of like what I wanted my van to look like.
How life should be.
Yeah, it's all in my head. And like I think that was maybe a bit challenging the van build because I was like, I don't know yet. I just know it when it'll be created. And
Sure.
that was kind of, that's how I build, that's how I create art. And I just knew that like I wanted it, like I can totally admire a lot of the vans out there, but I wanted something like really warm wood, cozy. I didn't want to do maybe what everyone else was doing. I was like, I want to make it unique. And to me, that meant just kind of like building in this flow way. And again, I had no carpentry or building experience. So like this was like an art project. It's like super crooked, but I was like, okay, I'm going to try this V. And then that kind of became the template for the ceiling. And this isn't screwed in yet after a year and a half. It's because I want to make a wood one. So I was like, I want this to be prettier.
No, you're good.
But this,
perfect. This
roof was like, it was 5 full days. And I'm talking like 12-hour days because like it was so hard for me to
Well, I was going to say, it's pretty good for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing.
It was really hard. Yeah,
no,
I mean,
I think that's great.
This roof, like, I think this little section where like it went back in again, it's like so imperfect.
So how many tears were shed during the process?
Oh, like every day,
okay.
So many tears. Also, I think like people don't realize about, I guess, a van build. Let's say you're in a workshop, like it's just exhausting. I was you literally work all day, like even into the night. I was working. In the dark with a headlamp, but then I was like living in my partner's van, and his van was like quite small. We have our materials everywhere. It was cold, it was raining, so you're dealing with the elements. You don't have a hot shower, and I did that for 2 months straight. So just that strain, plus learning a new skill, and then feeling like, oh, I don't have a space that's mine. I think like the build experience was very stressful. So there was a lot of tears.
But your end result?
It was worth it. It was so worth it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love your spice rack or whatever you want to call it up here. Your shelf.
Yeah.
I mean, again, probably an impromptu, like, let's just do it.
Yeah, well, I wanted to, like, I was like, okay, it is still a small space. So I was like, how do I utilize the space as best as possible? So, like, yeah, putting bookshelves up here, a little corner shelf. I think I could I'm going to build something more back here for more storage. I have storage under the bed. And then, I have lots of kitchen storage, and I have 25 gallons of water. Which was important.
You have a 25-gallon tank in here too? That's a lot for a small little van.
So I wanted to be able to like really go for like 2 weeks and not need to go into town. And then another thing that was really important was like a fridge. I have a fridge and freezer, and I had lived with the cooler one before, and I hate that one. So I was like, I want to stand up.
Do you put like ice in every day?
Yeah, I have. Okay. Well, I mean, it's empty right now.
No, I'm saying like, but the cooler you have to put ice into it.
No. Sorry, it's a freezer. Like it's a 3-way.
Oh, so I'm in your last one, your first one.
In the last one, it was my sister had a Dometic cooler style.
Oh, a cooler style.
Yeah, so she had the cooler style, and I just hated like digging through it.
Okay, can we stop right there? Yes. Because I actually want to point this out.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that love those chests.
Oh, I hate it.
And I hated it too.
I hate it.
I hated it too. And I always tell people, I'm like, listen, you don't have a chest in your house unless it's a deep freezer for whatever, meats or whatever. So is that what you kind of were like, this doesn't feel like a home to me?
Well, it was also, hers was on a track that is broken. So it's heavy, you have to rest it on your foot, you're like holding it up, and then all your like liquids are leaking, and it's just gross, and you're like, oh, and then you dig to the bottom, you're like, I forgot I had avocados, right?
Yep.
Whereas this, I'm like, I have a freezer, I have a fridge, I can see all my food, I eat a lot of whole produce, fresh stuff, so I was like, I need to have a fridge.
And for everybody that are going to be in the comments, they're going to be like, oh, well, you lose so much of the air that comes out. I think that's BS.
No, that doesn't.
I think it's such BS. But anyways, you have your fridge now. I love it.
Hey, I think it's like, what do you want? What works for me?
Ooh, I love that.
I want a stand-up fridge.
You said a minute ago this is a 3-way, which means it's AC power, DC power, and propane.
Yes. So it's not on right now, but I usually have it on propane because when I had it hooked up to my solar, it was just drawing too much power.
Okay.
I was originally planning to have 400 watts. I only have 200. And so far, that's totally served me. I can run all my stuff. I can run my Starlink.
Can you show it? Do you have it?
Yeah. So you can see. Wait, what's in here?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of dusty.
You're okay.
But yeah.
The one area you didn't clean.
I didn't clean in there. And now I have a leak right back here.
No, you're good. So yeah, you did your own power, or you said you had help with it.
We did it together.
Okay.
Yeah. So everything I had my hands on, like I would say I did like 80% of the build.
Cool.
But like the harder stuff that I didn't have I didn't know how to do electrical and plumbing. That stuff he helped me with a lot. Electrical kind of like I find it a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
I think like that was one thing that was really helpful. Like even doing my brakes, for example, like having him there, like I could do it, but then be like, hey, these are my brakes. It's important. Like, can you check my work? Make sure it's good. Same with this. It's like, okay, he spearheaded, I would say, like most of the electrical connections. But then once you're a part of it, you're like, oh, okay, no, I could do this.
I think everybody needs a safety blanket. You know, I think everybody, they always want somebody to look over. I mean, me too.
Yeah.
I want somebody to look over my work because I don't have confidence in myself. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. People are always going to ask this. Toilet and shower. Obviously, you don't have a shower in here. I'm just going to call you out.
So do I have a shower? You just do this. No, you can do this. And this like...
It goes out the window.
It goes out the window, and then you can open this and reach your hand in and turn it on.
Do you have hot water?
Who needs hot water? Come on, cold shower therapy. It works.
Okay.
I only done that one time because I don't need to. You know,
Yeah.
there's
Where do you shower? If you don't let me
There's a
ask.
shower right there.
Oh, you mean that big contaminated river right there? Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, it's all situational, right? You know, Planet Fitness, you shower.
Do you have a you have a Planet Fitness membership?
I
Or
don't,
you
but
use somebody
friends
else's?
do.
Yeah.
I'm a guest. I can't get Planet Fitness because I'm Canadian. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, it's such a pain in the butt.
Can we call Planet Fitness?
I know.
Can we get Planet Fitness on it? I'm gonna keep this in the video.
Yeah.
Can we get Canadians Planet Fitness,
I
please?
always have to be a guest of somebody to go to Planet Fitness. But right now I have a yoga membership, so I just shower at the yoga studio.
Oh, cool. You're a yogi.
Yeah, I'm a yogi.
I forgot about that.
I am a yogi. Yeah.
And then your yes.
I also didn't really fold my clothes, but then this is a new upgrade. I just have a little cassette toilet here. And then
Right?
Yep. And the thing I like about this, like someone's like, oh, your door's backwards, it should open this way. But I like it because then you don't see me. I change back here.
Yeah, you just put the curtains up and you call it a day.
Exactly. It's a little toilet.
I love this. This is like super cute.
Thanks.
All right, what else can you show me?
So up here, if we switch spots.
Yes, please.
So this used to be, it was just open.
My back has been to this the whole time and I had no idea that it was there. But yeah.
So this is original, and this used to pull out to about here, and there was a bed
Another
up here.
bed.
And I slept there the first night, and my face was like this far from the ceiling, and there was mold in the ceiling, and I was just like, this is
Are you
horrible.
claustrophobic?
I don't think so, but I felt extremely, I was in like
Yeah.
a mummy sleeping bag too, so I was like, I'm getting rid of that. No one will ever sleep up there. And now it's packed. But like this
Holy
is
Christmas! Look at all
my
that.
storage, and it goes really far back. Because
Because why not have all your storage?
I'm a person. I have stuff. One thing I love about the old van is like the steering wheel, like just the setup. I don't know. They don't make cars like this anymore.
They really don't.
The ignition's on the left, which always confuses everybody.
We asked about price on the outside.
Yeah.
What did this cost you on the inside?
You know, I never calculated it. I don't know if I want to know.
Okay.
But
You said it took about 2 months.
yeah, of like building every day, all day.
And you have materials. You have a little bit of electrical. You said 200 amp hours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's lithium.
Uh-huh.
That's all you really need. How do you cook?
I've got my stove. So I have my propane
Oh, that's
tank.
the propane tank.
Yeah.
Let me
My
see that.
propane's mounted on the back. You can kind of see through the window there. It's on the ladder.
Oh, okay.
Under. And then, I got my stove right there. And then my fridge is also connected to the propane.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
Can I open one of these?
Yeah, go for it. There's everything in here, but yeah.
Cute is that?
Yeah.
They're just little.
They're just little, I call them my little fairy cabinets.
Does all these stay closed? Your little fairy cabinets?
Wait, it goes like. There
Oh,
you go.
sorry.
They each have their own personality. Okay. They all need their own specific touch.
Yeah.
Yes.
It needs your touch.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
I'm trying to think. 5,000 to 8,000.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I guess like, is that including mechanical? Like I did do an engine swap this summer.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that was $5,000.
Okay.
Canadian.
I mean, we don't have to include that, but that's good to know.
Yeah.
Sure.
I didn't necessarily. I kind of did it. I mean, I had blown a gasket, and I could have still driven it. Like it was still that's the thing. So I was on 7 cylinders, and I drove 6,000 kilometers from Baja to Canada. But like it made it, and that's another thing I love about these vans is you know, you're in one of these new vans, it's like, bing, this light's on, your van doesn't drive.
Yeah.
I'm on 7 cylinders and I drove all through the States.
Well, it's that old saying, like, they don't make them like they used to.
No, and like this thing, and even like I said, like, Manuka, one time I left her in the car in Mexico idling, she put the van in drive, she drove it off the road.
Come on.
She drove it into, luckily, a tree caught my van. And guess what? I just like broke a piece of plastic. The van is fine. We reversed it out of a tree in the ditch because she's she's like a beast.
You have stories.
I have so many
stories.
Yeah.
Yo, you are like there have been people that are like, yeah, my dog ate my homework. No, your dog drove your van into a tree.
Yeah, she's got a big personality. It was, I would say, like top 3 scariest moments was I turn around, I'm feeding some donkeys, and I turn around, all these Mexican men are screaming at me, and I'm like, what are they yelling at? And I turn around, and my van's driving off the road.
How fast was it going?
It's going pretty fast, and it was going, and like all I see is it looks like the road just drops and the ocean's in the distance, and so I think my van is driving off a cliff into the ocean
With your dog?
with my dog in it, and I'm screaming, and it was like a nightmare. I'm like, you know when you like can't,
Yes.
your legs aren't moving fast enough, and oh my god, and luckily,
this is a messed up thing to ask.
yeah,
Could you see Manuka in the driver's seat? Oh, you couldn't?
I couldn't.
Because
But
I would just love to see that image of Manuka like.
So my ex got to the van first. Well, the tree caught it. It's like boom, and he gets in. Luckily the window's down. He turns it off, and I'm just like, did I leave it in? Like I thought it was me. I thought I left it in drive.
Yeah.
And I was like going, but I was like no, because it had been, you know, we were outside for like 2 minutes, and then the van started rolling. And they said, they're like, no, tu pero, da 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 da, and I was like, okay.
Tu pero.
And then these sweet construction workers came down, about 20 of them, and pushed us out back onto the road. But
I see you have a camera. So you are an artist in that way, where you create photography or?
Yeah, well, I guess I wouldn't call myself a photographer. It's something that like I like to do, or I like to make videos on Instagram. I'm new into YouTube. I've just started YouTube like a couple weeks ago.
Oh no, you're killing it on YouTube. I'm gonna plug your YouTube channel. I meant to do that.
Yeah, I would appreciate that, but yeah, YouTube is intimidating, but like
What's your YouTube?
It's same name, Katerina Ketcha.
Katerina Ketcha. Smart move by doing it just your name.
Keeping it all the same.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was a filmmaker and actress for 10 years, pursuing this career for 10 years as an actress, and then every time I would did the horse trip across Canada, I would be so much happier grounded in nature with my animals. And then I would go back to the city, get a new agent, do the grind. And then I did a 7-month solo backpacking trip, like so happy, so connected, go back, get an agent, do the same grind. And I'm like, finally I had to kind of reevaluate my life and be like, this isn't actually me. This was a childhood dream, and like I was trying to honor that dream, but now my dream has kind of shifted. And like if I actually look at not the idea of being an actress, but the facts of being an actor, of like I have to be in a city, I'm in this industry that I feel like is really vapid and whatever, has all its own issues. Living in a van is just so much more conducive to the kind of like the lifestyle I want to live.
You and I did it very differently. But I love how you did it, because yours is like artistic. Mine was, I was trying to save rent, and I was like, I'm going to live in my van to save rent. And I was like, it would be easier to travel around LA and sleep in Santa Monica to go to an audition.
That's so funny.
That's why I did it.
Yeah.
Because I was like trying to be a comedian, and I was like, it was easier to be a comedian if I was like living outside of the comedy shop. And then my audition was, LA's not, small.
That's crazy. I can't imagine vanning in LA.
That was great.
That's crazy.
It was great.
But for
2
me,
years.
That's wild. I didn't want to come back from the vacation. Maybe that sounds like silly,
No.
but I was like, every time I come back from traveling, I have to like I felt like I was like a animal reintegrating into society, and I was just like, I don't.
So guys, go give Katerina a follow. I think she deserves it, obviously. Say all your information again. Plug it again.
Yeah, so my Instagram is at Katerina Ketcha. My YouTube is the same, Katerina Ketcha.
Okay.
Spelled K-E-C-A.
I'll put everything in there. Don't worry. Okay. People are going to see it. And then the links are all going to be in the thing below, everybody. We do a lot of these tours. I'm getting into different tiles tours soon enough. But don't worry, I will be focusing a lot more on DIYers. I'll try to as best I can. Katerina is going to link me up with some people that I can tour as well. Sure. She didn't even know I was going to say that. So
I know people.
She knows people in van places.
Yes.
All right, guys. See you later.